We have to talk about the state of the UFL. This is just this morning, hot off the start of Showdown, scoring a goal, and you're going to see here pretty soon the disconnect issue is back. Now, if you want to watch this entire stream, 4 hours long, you see me get 5 wins taken away in Showdown. 5 wins. Okay. And the reason I'm speaking on this is because it points to a huge issue, which is we're never going to be able to keep players. Even someone like me that's trying as hard as I can to keep playing. Now you see the reason why, especially with how amazing post-patch Eafc is, which I'll show you examples compared to this here in a bit. But this right here, score a goal, and you get rewarded with a game cancellation that says due to technical difficulties. 5 games in a row. 5 games in a row that I was leading. One, I was even able to score a second goal before it disconnected. And it just takes away. Never happens when I'm losing. So some crazy glitch there. But that's not where the problem's in, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to look at the crazy wait times that keep getting worse and worse and worse. Now, I'm not going to bore you to death with watching the screen as long as we had to on the 4-hour stream. It was just over and over forever. And there's such a cool community, such a great group of people I've grown. And a lot of them, unfortunately, I'm breaking some news to, it seems like. Meaning like they're trying to be as positive as they can, but I'm trying to tell them. And just like I'm trying to tell you, I want this game to work more than anyone. This is where I started all this, right? This is where I finally decided to share my knowledge and put my knowledge out there for people to use and to benefit from. And do I want to have to go do it over at Eafc? No, but it's just 1,000 times better, and that's the facts. No matter how much myself or anybody wants UFL to work, bug after bug after bug comes, patch after patch after patch. It doesn't get better, it gets worse. The patches are supposed to make the game better, but it just keeps getting worse. And that's why more and more players are leaving and these wait times are getting longer and longer. That's why I made such a long video about the lag game with Dagger, because more and more people are experiencing that. Even in my stream, they'll come in and say, like, I can't even move, I can't play. And the lag games aren't even the tip of the iceberg. That's just part of it. But all of it comes down to the shrinking player base. That's what the result is of all these things. Not many people are going to get 5 wins, much less, 1 win even taken away from them and just sit and play this game, especially when they go and play Eafc, which you'll see the gameplay in a little bit, and it's 10 times better. Because even if you get into the game and let's say you bypass the fact that there's a good chance you might get a lag game, which makes it very unplayable, definitely at the very least unpleasant to play, right? Then you have to deal with the fact that there's so many bugs. I will show you what a game in UFL basically comes down to here in a bit. Not even going to show you that there's a sprint, not even boost, but an ability to have a huge, like, sustained speed increase is what it is. That's not supposed to be in the game. There's also a defensive sustained speed increase that's not supposed to be in the game. Both added after the last patch. Why is that? How is that? Who knows? But they ruined the game. And notice that I'm telling you all this as this wait time goes. And remember, I'm giving you about 1/10 of the wait time that you do over the course of an entire session. Which many of you know this, but what I'm trying to say is these things that I'm talking about while we're looking at these loading screens are why the loading screens are so long, and they're going to continue to be this long, and they're only going to get worse, which is why I've started to stream at Eafc. 1, because the patch is incredible. Again, you'll see here shortly. And 2, because I know that no regular players, you'll have your diehards and the players that just had such a bad experience and that are very strong-minded and trying to give UFL a chance. Yes, you have those players, right? One, for instance, in my chat was like, I'm going to at least give UFL a year, which I like that train of thought. The problem is, they might have a year that from you, but they're not going to have a year from the majority of players, okay? A majority of players are going to get one win taken away with that disconnect and go, wow, this game's a joke, and leave. And if they don't do it after one game, 2 games will for sure get them to leave. Okay? And if the disconnect issue doesn't, then guess what will? Probably the wait times. And if the wait times don't, guess what will? A lag game against the same opponent they match over and over. And if that doesn't do it, then guess what else will? The bugs when you play an opponent. You destroy them. You might have 10, 15 shots to their 1 or 2, and they come down and they do one of the lags, which I'm going to show you an example of in a bit. You've seen it once, you've seen it 100 times. So there's all these different things that are going to chase players away. Any one of these things will chase most players away. But even a player who's like, oh, I'll give him a chance. 2 of those things definitely will chase a player away. And we got like 5, 6, 7 things. We haven't even gone into the fact that while we're staring at this screen over and over, and remember, this is what we expect players to do. Not a chance. I'm going to show you how quickly you get into a game in Eafc. Somebody said, well, it's so early in the morning though, man. Like we're more diehards, right? No. 24/7, 365, I'll show you what it's like to connect over at Eafc. Right? And many people know this, and if you don't, I'll show you. So nobody's going to just wait through all of these issues. It's just not realistic. So I see the writing on the wall. No matter how much I want UFL to work, you need a bunch of players to be able to make this game work, and it's just not going to happen with the state of the game. And they've had 2 major patches, and they're going in the wrong direction. And a lot of these players, once you lose them, they're not going to give you another chance. I wouldn't have said that if Eafc didn't come out with such an amazing patch, but they did come out with an amazing patch. Point blank, period. Okay? So, I'm not even going to get into as long as I was going to show you an example of, just so you could get the whole experience of what it's like waiting this long for a game. We're going to skip ahead to act like we finally got into a game in UFL, okay? And it's not a glitch game, which, again, I have video examples of all this. Many of you have experienced it. So we actually got into a game where we can play. Not, we're not in the waiting screen anymore. It's not a lag game. And this is what we experience. You will see stat lines like this, and then goals like this will go against you. And you will watch, no matter how many goals I have, I happen to have 2 in this game. Now, that stat line was just a random example. It happened just about every game. This game had a similar stat line, but I just want to make that clear. That stat line was for another game, but just about all of them will be like this. Dominating an opponent. Sometimes they'll have no shots on goal, then they'll go get a corner flick from you. And then you have to decide, should I just try the good old L2 glitch, which you see the goalie save, but nonetheless, every time your striker receives it, because the defenders can't, it's a bug. And then you'll go down and have to make a decision. Most players are going to decide, hey, we've been dominating. It was like 70% to 30 in this game, dominating possession, right? And so you'll have to decide then to go down and glitch, or do you want all that time that you spent playing good football and dominating to go to waste, because this player is going to come down, and you'll see in a bit, which I predicted, is going to come down and get another glitch goal. He actually gets one of those L2 glitches where you cross it, defenders can't do anything about it. So you'll see that right now. Boom, 70 possession, like 10 shots to 2, and he glitches and then gets this. Literally, doesn't matter if I could defend it or not, because the defenders wouldn't react anyway. Even if I mark that perfectly, which you will never know because you see my defender run right by, because it's a bug. It's not supposed to be in the game. So that's what you're dealing with in the UFL. No one is going to keep playing the game with that, with all these layers of terrible things going on, all these layers of different problems. And we haven't even got into how thin and shallow the UFL is. Do they not realize that Eafc has all these rewards? You can't even provide any type of skins, nothing for your Premier League players. You think players are going to spend 70-something more days of a season with these little silly challenges for what? You don't offer anything. I mean, you knew going into this what kind of rewards. Look at these. I mean, this is just for like randomly playing since like, just a few days. Just trying out the patch and then seeing how good it was and streaming like a couple days. And I already got like that good of rewards. And look what I'm getting in UFL. There's no substance there. No average player is just going to play that. Now, remember all that wait time? Let's go ahead and look at how quickly it takes to get into a game. Random early morning time, Eafc. And we're in the screen to load the game. The game's loaded and it's going to... What? Already a game? Who isn't going to go over here for this? But no, maybe that was just that game, right? No, it's every single time. Just there, you saw 2 games get loaded into. Now let's watch that again and see how quickly that is compared to UFL. And initializing, we are in a game. Do you guys see what I'm saying? Now, last but not least, just look at some random gameplay. That was just a kickoff. Here we go. This is Team of the Year Cup. I got my max wins in about the time it took me maybe to find, literally, probably like 2-3 games. Because in Cups, it's golden goal wins. So as I'm getting games in, as I'm getting rewards, right? And it's win or lose. Remember, it's mainly golden goal. Some games played all the way through. I'm finishing whole events before I would get even just a handful of games in UFL. And handful is being nice. It could literally be maybe 2 games in UFL based on the wait times. So, no, it's not about early in the morning. It's not about, maybe it's just the area you're in. I'm literally in smack dab in the middle of the U.S. And when I play Eafc, there's none of these issues. Yes, Eafc has been around a long time, but it doesn't matter. The average player isn't going to go, well, UFL's a new game. I really, really feel for the Strikers development team since they aren't just as greedy as EA Sports with all the stuff they've done. And I'm just going to go ahead and spend hours on end on a waiting screen to go play either a lag game or a glitch fest where skill doesn't matter. Nobody's going to do that. This isn't me being anything but honest. You guys tell me the truth. As you load into UFL and you're waiting, try to tell me that people won't come wait basically nothing, just instant game at Eafc is what they will get. Tell me people are going to wait and then get into a game that's either going to be super laggy, like the example I showed with Dagger that happens all the time, or they're going to go in and play a game that I showed next where you get 10, 11, 12 shots from playing better football, from being more skilled, and you end up with a draw or maybe a loss because a guy did a corner flick and an L2, cross. None of that exists in the Eafc. Now, prior to the Eafc patch, I would have said, hey, we have 2 busted football games, and Eafc has had chance after chance, so let's stick with UFL's busted game and try to help them fix it, because we've seen Eafc won't do anything about their game. However, they finally lost enough money and lost enough players that they put their endless amount of resources, because that's what happens when you have that much money, into making an incredible game. No, I don't like EA Sports, but I also do not like Strikers. The fact of the matter is, just watching this right now in the background and seeing everything I've said previous to this, it's just facts. So at the end of the day, when they put this incredible product on the pitch, finally, and there is no shot that's going to guarantee you a goal. There is no formation that's you have to play to succeed. It's all about skill. It's all about passing and moving. It's all about playing football now. They finally listened to the fan base, the player base. They finally put a great product out there. So UFL's time just got shrunk like immensely, because no longer will people say, oh, it's 2 broken products, let's stick with the newer company because the other company's shown they won't fix it. Like I just said, no, it's going to be, wow, Eafc is incredible right now. I really wanted the UFL to work, but man, they ain't going to catch up. And it's just facts. So, am I going to just stop playing UFL? No, not until the player base that helped me get a push on, where I'm at with this channel to even have a voice. No way I'm going to, not support their support of UFL, if that makes sense. But I also am not just going to be fake to them and say, oh, UFL's amazing because my numbers are so good, right? That would be the most, I could never be like that. Because even if I did do that, right, my community, even if we were like, I was fully pushing the support of UFL, fully trying to like be fake and hide all like the waiting times and or make excuses or not show all the glitchy gameplay and stuff and not talk about it. Even if I was trying to be like that, we still wouldn't be able to muster up enough players based on everyone's experience in this in UFL to keep them there. Because the majority of players are going to go to EAFC. Some might go to eFootball, but I tried eFootball. It doesn't compare. This new patch in EAFC is true football. It's finally where you can make the argument like, yes, this game isn't free, but you're going to pay to experience this over what you're paying, over what you're experiencing in UFL. Again, a vast majority is going to pay the money, I promise you. I mean, you've seen for yourself. Just the wait times alone could be worth it for some people to pay to play EAFC, on a yearly cycle. Just the fact that you can go play true football without all those bugs, I mean, that would be enough for many people. Just because you can go into EAFC and have depth and not just have 80 more days of a season once you make it to the top division with no rewards, nothing to play for, that could be enough for people to play. And I could go on and on. You see where I'm going. But none of this is being negative. It's just being honest. And it's disappointing for sure. I mean, you saw all my support of the game. There's many in my chat that have seen me go to bat for UFL and for strikers. And strikers just doesn't even deserve that kind of support themselves because they're greedy. I can go in. That's a whole different topic where I could show you example after example where they're just as bad, if not worse, than EA Sports. So as a player base, nobody owes any developers anything. It's just about what you want to do, right? So at the end of the day, if both developers stink, then it don't matter which game's newer or this or that. The bottom line is which game is actually good football. Which game actually provides the most fun experience. And it's no doubt EAFC. Pay or not pay, right? Yearly release or not. It's just the facts. UFL went from needs a lot of work, but EAFC is broken to UFL needs a lot of work, and EAFC finally got their act together, so it's a no-brainer. It's just a matter of how long it's going to take you before you realize it. That's all it is. So in the meantime, I'll do the best I can to provide. Like, I got booted from 5 different wins, but hopefully what it showed, at least the chat who was on there, is that my 5-3-2 is a great formation. I sold all of my top-rated players and got base level affordable players just to show it does not matter. I still went out and dominated after with a few of those games, but I just had to take a break from it because I literally didn't lose the entire time. And I got 5 wins taken away, so it's not like I'm having this crazy experience where I'm losing games or nothing. It's literally just all those things I said before. Even the few games that I drew, it was like literally like 15 shots to 2. So it's not like, I mean, I could still play well. I could still win and do all that. Still muster up highlights. But I just got to be honest, and it does, I do feel bad at times, kind of almost breaking the news, if you will, to some of the players in my chat or people that are kind of trying to just cling on to not going back to EAFC or cling on to like the UFL. But none of these things are like opinions. These are all things that I'm showing you on these videos. These are all facts. And as we experience them, even if some of us want to kind of be in denial or choose to let some of these things go, we got to understand that it takes a lot of players to create a player base where we can keep playing new players each time and where it's fun. And the average player just isn't going to let even a fraction of this stuff go, much less all of the different issues, which is why I strongly suggest you think about jumping over to EAFC. 1, you will have fun. It's an incredible game. But 2, I'm just trying to prepare you for the fact that UFL just isn't going to be sustainable with the way that it is going. And again, a lot of these players, even if they start going in the right direction, which so far 2 patches they've gone in the wrong direction, but even if they start going the right direction, right, and you want to say, well, EAFC had years. You're right. But because they finally, after those years, went in the right direction and have a great release right now. Those players who tried out UFL and it was just junk and they're now back at Eafc, they don't care that it took them years. All they care about is right this second, and moving forward, they have a great game to play, right? They're not just going to go, oh, well, it took them 6, 10, whatever years to make this great game, so I'm just not going to play this. I'm going to play this disaster of a game at UFL and give them a year or 2 years or 3. It doesn't work like that, and we all know it, right? So just trying to really wake some people up and really get the facts across. I'm very disappointed to say this. I don't know if you could tell that or not, but just look at how it impacts me. Me personally as a creator, my numbers come from the UFL. They greatly reduce since I've started covering Eafc, just because, one, there's a lot of Eafc creators. Two, my whole foundation, everything started at UFL, right? And so it's much better for me to say UFL's amazing, keep the UFL, Eafc stinks. It's just not the facts. I just can't do it. So it is what it is. And we just have to be grateful that we do have a great football game to play, because this could have very easily been a case where we had no good games to play. So that is the bright side of it. If you can accept Eafc and play Eafc like I have, if for some reason you just refuse to play Eafc, whether it's you refuse to buy the game because you haven't bought it yet, or you refuse to go back to the game because you're just that mad at EA Sports, well, obviously that's your prerogative, and there's no doubt I wish you the best. I'm not ending my coverage of UFL, right? I'm still going to play the game. I'm still going to help people out there, no different than I have been, because, like I said, that's where I got like my foundation of everything I'm doing with this channel, to even have a voice, to have people that support me, and I'm not going to leave them hanging without the help that I know I can provide. But I also just got to be factual in everything that's going on with the game. So it's as simple as that. With that being said, keep grinding, keep having fun. It's the most important part. And I will see you next time.